Welcome to this introduction on Chef Courier. In this demonstration, we'll look at a scenario where a controlled rollout of an update is required to maintain the uptime of production systems. Chef Courier delivers enterprise job orchestration, which is built upon three fundamental dimensions. The whatever, which defines the actions that are required to complete a task, which are not limited to just chef cookbooks. Job action interpreters allow OS commands, scripts, inspect profiles, and more to be executed, providing the flexibilities organizations require. The wherever, which is the where and how jobs should be run, with the ability to control the distribution and sequence to control the blast radius within the infrastructure. And lastly, the whenever, scheduling capabilities to control whether jobs run immediately or are scheduled in the future and reoccurring with the ability to control exceptions. Combined, these three dimensions of Chef Courier allow organizations to scale to deliver the orchestration of a single node to hundreds of thousands of nodes within the infrastructure. This demonstration will focus on the wherever dimension, providing the control on the distribution and sequence of actions being delivered by Chef Courier. In this example, we have a 6-node production web farm running Nginx behind a load balancer that requires an update which is essential for supporting the business. Under no circumstances should there be less than 2 web servers available to provide the minimum redundancy and load for this web application. This example is a common use case where there's a quorum that must be maintained for the solution to operate. With this requirement, these 6 web servers will be divided into 2 groups within Courier, Group 0 and Group 1. The actions necessary for this update will be to check the current version of Nginx, update Nginx if it's not at the latest stable version, enable Nginx through systemctl, and start Nginx on the node. Only when all 4 of the tasks complete successfully to all nodes within Group 0 will Courier continue to update the remaining 2 nodes in Group 1. If at any time 1 or more systems fail to complete any of the actions, Courier will stop the job to ensure the production web farm remains stable and continues to serve the business. Jumping into the Chef Courier job that was created for this, we can see from a scheduling perspective we're looking to start it immediately. The execution type we have defined is sequential, since we don't want the groups to run the job at the same time and possibly take down the production web farm. Group 0 is defined with 4 nodes and has a distribution method of rolling and a value of 2 for the batch size, meaning that only 2 nodes will run at a time until all nodes have completed all the assigned actions. Lastly, our success criteria is set to 100%, which means that all systems must be successful for the job to continue to the next group. Group 1 has similar settings and has the remaining 2 nodes listed with a success criteria of 50%, which is acceptable since we know that prior to running this group, all 4 nodes in Group 0 would have had to have been successful. Therefore, the farm would have more than enough systems to serve the application, or in other words, maintain that quorum. We can see by taking a look through SSH at a random set of 3 of the 6 nodes that 2 of the nodes are running Nginx 1.22.1 and 1 is already running the desired version of 1.24.0. Now looking back at the actions, we're first creating an output of the current Nginx version running on the node. Second, we're checking to see if the condition of the version is the stable version of 1.24.0. If it is, we should just exit the job for that given node. If the condition equals 1.22.1, we should update the version of Nginx to 1.24.0, enable Nginx, and start it. We'll kick off the job using the create job command with the path and name of the JSON. By running the list job instances, we can extract the job ID and run the instance runs command to get the details of the running Courier job. We can see that 2 nodes within Group 0 have received the job and are currently running through the actions. Waiting a moment and running the command again, we see the 2 successful nodes and the remaining nodes in Group 0 have now received the job and are actively going through the steps. Now that all 4 nodes in Group 0 have received and executed the actions successfully, the job has moved to Group 1, and we do see 1 failure and the other is still in the process of running through the actions. One final refresh and we see 5 nodes have successfully updated to Nginx 1.24 and 1 has failed. If we look at the details of that failed node, we can see the reason was due to the system already being at the desired version of 1.24.0. Doing an Nginx -v on each of those 3 systems through SSH, we can see that 1.24.0 is now the current version, and we were able to maintain the uptime of our production web server farm with success. Hopefully, this demonstration highlights the value Chef Courier can bring to the organization by delivering the whatever, wherever, and whenever orchestration capabilities the business needs.